On today's show, we have a very, very cool band. We got to hear a little taste of what they're going to do today here in Soundcheck. I got to be honest with you guys. When I came in today, I was stressed out. I won't tell you what about, some other stuff in my life, not important, but I was stressed. And then you guys started your sound check, and it like melted away. You hear about that all the time, but I got to say, like, that sound you guys have, it's fantastic. Fast Preacher in studio with us. How you guys doing?
Great. Thanks for having us. I got to say, it was kind of a similar situation for me. As soon as the headphone mix came in, all of the stresses washed away.
I know how to do this. Yeah. If you're just joining us here on WMNF for the first time, Live Music Showcase is a show featuring live bands. Every week we bring musicians into the studio. Every once in a while we even go on location somewhere out there in the world. This week we have Fast Preacher on the show, and it's a bit of a deep dive kind of a thing. We like to get to know the musicians. We like to get the stories behind the music, and I have a feeling you guys have a few pretty cool stories.
Totally.
I think we'll get into those in a little bit, but first I would love to hear your first song.
Sounds great. Let's do it. This first one is a new one, and it's a medley with an old one, and it's starting with a song called Never Say Never, and the second one's called Gift to Me.
gift
give of me. Good thing no one gets it all for free.
You're listening to Live Music Showcase here on 88.5 WMNF Tampa. I'm your host, Ken Apperson. Man, it's good to be back. It's nice to be back. I took a week off last week. Went over to the land of enchantment to unplug and find myself. One of those things happened. I won't tell you which one. Mm-hmm. But we have Fast Preacher in studio today. I got to say, guys, I really like your sound. I like the sound. I'm a big sucker for harmonies, though. I'm a big sucker for harmonies. Choir kid nerd, nice. You know, the whole thing. You can check out this show right now from our Facebook page, WMNF's Live Music Showcase on Facebook. We are live streaming right now, full production. It's not just a little camera phone and a lamp. We got a whole bunch of people in here working hard to make sure that this show looks and sounds really, really good. I'll tell you about all those people later on. But so Fast Preacher, you guys are from all over the place. Mm-hmm. I know Natalie on the drums. She's from here in Tampa. She's got a couple of groups that she plays with. Guitar, Purple Girl. Can't wait to have both of them on the show. Definitely going to do that. We'll set that up, Natalie. How did you guys, if you're from all over the place, how did you guys end up being the unit that you are?
Yeah, we all have roots in Florida.
Oh, you do have roots in Florida?
Yeah, I'm originally from Orlando, Florida. Okay. So is Grant, the guitar player.
Okay.
And yeah, we have history through Orlando that way, as well as Jordan and I. Jordan's on bass.
Yeah.
And now Jordan lives in New York. I live in Durham, North Carolina. And when the time came for Fast Preacher to have a tour back in October, I basically just reached out to a bunch of people, and they were the ones that were willing and able and down. And I'm really glad that it worked out that way because we automatically had chemistry, and it felt really good. So
chemistry, like that's a very important detail. So essentially this is a situation where the band formed in one place and then you guys all kind of spread out to other places. So New York, North Carolina, are you still in Orlando?
I'm still in Orlando.
Still Orlando, and then Tampa. So you guys are from all. So when it comes time to do these tours, and you made that decision to either, okay, well, I could go with some new people that are from where I'm from, and that would probably make rehearsal easier, and it would probably make logistics for travel easier. And you said, no, I'm going to go with the people that I have that chemistry with. So that tells me that you kind of prioritize that feeling of cohesiveness on stage.
After doing it for a while and having some experiences with people that I barely know, I would take that any day of the week.
I love that. I really want to talk about the road, okay? Because while like I ask about that on this show a lot, the answer is always different. Everybody's experience of the road is always different. You've got the guys that are the party animals and the kind of like, yeah, we literally lit our hotel on fire. We really did that. And then the guys that are like, no, man, we're in bed by 8. We're up at 6. We're doing yoga and eating granola. That's what. So I'd love to hear that. But before we do that, let's hear your next song.
Sounds good. This one's called Busted.
You're falling out on me, so much I cannot see. Then you and
Live music.
You're listening to Live Music Showcase here on 88.5. We're live in studio with Fast Preacher. So I saw something going on there, a little communication behind. So here's the thing that if you're a listener and you're not a musician that you may not know. When it comes to playing on stage, especially playing on stage with a band, there is a language that exists that doesn't require words. And a lot of it's body language, and some of it's just how you play. You get to know the people that you play with, and you hear them do, you hear them do something, oh, I know what he's doing next. You get that anticipatory thing. And then that's how you get jam bands. That's how you get, the freeform jazz bands. They can just vibe off of each other.
Telepathy.
And honestly, it gets there. It gets close, right?
Yeah.
Because you get so good at it that it becomes second nature.
Totally.
And that's one of the things I love about this show and it being live and having a live band in studio like this is like you get all of that live experience here on this show. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about the road.
Yeah.
So how many times have you toured, first of all?
With this project, this is the second time we've been on the road.
Okay.
And it feels like the fourth.
Why does it feel like the fourth?
We were talking about it the other day. Sometimes it just feels like with habits and travel time and itinerary, it just it does a number on you and makes you feel way older than you actually are.
Yeah, I've heard that before. And I mean, traveling does this crazy thing to your sense of time anyway. Whether you're touring or not, you get to a place you've spent a day traveling, you go to sleep that night. It's like, this feels like a week.
Yeah, usually it's hard to remember the day of the week. We always have to be reminded by someone else.
Yeah, and then you come off tour, it's kind of like coming off and having jet lag,
Totally.
tour lag, basically.
Totally.
Yeah, so as far as like being on the road, tell me a story tell me your most memorable thing that pops off the top of your head right now. What do you have? What's the last kind of crazy, kind of wild, if you have anything in your back pocket? I see a smile over here. He's got one.
I'm just thinking of immediate, like the last show that we had that was very memorable was in Savannah. It was on this run. It was last week. It was at the Thompson Hotel rooftop for a pool party. And it was put on by this group called Dog Days Presents. Shout out Kyle. It was a lot of fun. It was swanky, and we got hotel rooms, and it was relatively safe. Like nothing too crazy happened, but I will say that I busted my butt after jumping in the pool mid-song. So
shallow pool. Yikes. Okay.
Well, it was coming out of the pool. I slipped and fell.
Oh, okay. If there's video of that, I'm going to need someone on your
We're going to need to dig to find it,
I'm going to need that.
Somewhere.
Yep, thank you. Love that. Okay, so as far as like the touring goes, what's the worst show? Maybe not the worst show you guys have played, but the worst experience you've had. They're probably not listening, just so you know. Interesting. But they could be. You never know.
We might. I don't know. I don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Well, you don't have to say where, but tell me about that experience.
We
tell me
did play
why.
to like 3 people in a bowling alley one time.
In a bowling alley?
True.
That might win,
Yeah.
Wow.
One of my favorite performances of ours, though, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun.
Best performance, worst show. Gotcha.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes rough times to find some golden experience. So.
Exactly. So speaking on that, I definitely want to talk a little bit about your songwriting because I dug into your catalog a little bit via, streaming services and whatnot, which, by the way, if you're listening and you listen to podcasts, you can listen to this show as a podcast anytime, anywhere, any of the places where you get your normal streaming podcasts. Just look up Live Music Showcase, WMNF's Live Music Showcase, wherever you get your streaming services. Yep, shameless plug. I'm good with it. It's fine. I like to give people as many different ways to listen to the show as possible.
That's great.
Because so many different people listen in so many different ways. I listen to podcasts all the time.
Very helpful.
Anyway, so let's hear your next song, and then let's talk a little bit about the songwriting.
Sure, sounds good. This one's called Never Leave.
You are like a lemon squeezed on a wound. I am like a scratch by your perfume. Pushed each other far enough to go kaboom. But I'm thankful for the time we had to sit and swim. easier for me to believe. I thought the sight of love could not unchange. If I stay, I'm likely to regret. You got me feeling like I can never leave. 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 I can never leave.
You're listening to Live Music Showcase here on 88.5 WMNF Tampa. I'm your host, Ken Apperson. We are live in studio with Fast Preacher. So let's talk a little bit about your songwriting style.
Sure.
Now, first of all, who does the writing? I'm assuming you're pretty much the whole thing, right?
Yeah, it started as a solo recording project and kind of evolved a little from there, like opening up. A couple of the songs that we played so far are on a newer EP that included musicians as opposed to the first few releases, which was like mostly just me.
Gotcha.
So I'm trying to collaborate more. And
Now,
push
mostly, when you say mostly just you, like, so you performed all the instruments, I would imagine. So you're multi-instrumentalist, and you are a multi-instrumental player and writer.
Correct.
Basically. So you're a composer of sorts.
Sure, I'll take that.
Okay. Do you have the tuxedo? Well, that's a conductor. Never mind.
No tuxedo, but I'll work on that.
Honestly, the best composers that I've met, which honestly is a small number, but jeans and t-shirts all day.
Yeah,
We'll let the conductors wear the suits. So when it comes to the writing, first of all, it's very versatile.
Sweet, thanks.
It's that song compared to the song and the medley previous to it.
Totally.
Yeah. So I would imagine usually when that happens, it's the fact that those two songs are from different periods in your life, kind of like a visual artist having Picasso having his blue period and all of that. So was that true for you as well?
Yeah, totally. And it's just like, different moods. People grow. People go through all kinds of crap. And I feel like, as you grow through it, you learn how to express yourself a little better each time. So it's kind of just a reflection of that.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that kind of shines through in the writing, I would say. I forget who it was, but somebody famous or somebody relevant, or maybe it was my mom. I don't know. But they said it's really hard to be a good musician without having experienced a good amount of pain in your life.
I feel
good
that.
artists, that is, not just
that.
musicians. But so with that said, how much pain have you experienced that's contributed to your artistry?
Quantitatively.
Yeah, let's go ahead and just count them out. I'll pull up a spreadsheet and we can just categorize and quantify all of the emotional turmoil you've been through.
I'll say out of the 2 out of 4 songs we played so far, I'll say 2 of them were painful and 2 of them were fun.
Okay. So how do you as an artist take that raw material, i.e. that pain and that experience, and funnel it and filter it into the finished product that we can now hear on streaming services and you live?
It changes from time to time. I think usually it just depends on a mood, and then using an instrument like guitar or something else as a way of like expressing myself, or just like channeling that mood through the melody usually. Yeah. And then putting words to it with whatever's on my mind at the time. That's kind of like the simplest way I can put it.
Okay. So if you had any advice for the fledgling writers out there that I like to think that a big part of the audience of this show is, musicians, wannabe musicians, wish they had been. If you had one piece of advice to share with them, what do you think it'd be?
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I would go further, but I don't know. Yeah, don't be afraid to just try things and hold on to them, and you don't have to share them with anyone but yourself. And that's that can be all it needs to be. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the ideas that we cultivate in our head about music, once it gets out in reality, it goes, oh. This is not at all what I thought this was going to sound like.
But then sometimes it has the complete opposite effect, and then you get a bunch of people who it resonates with, and that's kind of why we're doing this. So
Okay. So when it comes to your fans and your live shows and all of that, how big of a difference is your performance in the studio from your performance live?
Well, we play louder. We rock a little harder. There's a little more energy there, I think. I think in the studio and some of the recordings have been a little on the slower and lower side of things, but there's nothing wrong with that. I like both ends of the spectrum for sure.
Yeah, that contrast lends itself to both. You know, the contrast of the heavy, fast makes that slower, more methodical process or more methodical expression of music that much more because of the contrast, I think. So you guys are playing tonight at Shuffle in Tampa.
Looking forward to it, along with Natalie, our drummer's other band, Katara.
Yep.
Very
She's
excited.
pulling double duty.
Very excited to get a double dose.
For the record, I love Katara. I'm dying to have you guys on the show. I already said it earlier, but like the cool, just it's vibey. I hate to say that as a 35-year-old man who's not allowed to say terminology like that, but it's vibey, man. It's really vibey. It's really good.
Well, thank you.
Natalie, how long have you been playing? You actually have a really cool story, and maybe we'll dig into that sometime. But how long have you been doing the Katara project?
About 2 years. I've been playing with Seth, the harpist,
Right.
for about 4. And we've branched out into other projects, but Katara is about 2 years old.
I love that. And Shuffle is this cool spot in Tampa where it's shuffleboard, it's a bar, it's a restaurant, and they have really great live music from all over the country. They have touring acts like sneak in there all the time. I love that. And you guys are a perfect example of that. So.
Sweet.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead. I want to hear your next tune.
Sounds
We
good.
can hear that next tune. But after that, I definitely want to talk a little bit about influences. I want to try and guess your influences because I'm watching. First of all, I'm watching the hands on the guitar necks, and that's always a good indication of like whether or not you've had any kind of training. Usually, especially the right hand. You know,
Sweet.
Alternate picking and whatnot.
I love playing that game. Let's do it.
We'll dive into that after this. But let's hear that next song.
Cool. This one's called Misunderstood. Take it away, Natalie.
You never knew that you had it so good. Misunderstood. If I thought that you would, you replace me. I said surely you wouldn't erase me. If I disappeared, would you save me? Would you call me a liar or crazy? I guess I've been called worse by your baby. Can't believe everything you've been taught, sold and then bought. If you lose or get caught, are you famous? It's not a matter of willing or able. Can you bring home some food to your table? It's not a matter of willing or able. In a world where the food is a table.
You're listening to Live Music Showcase. We are live in studio with Fast Preacher today. Again, like you've got me in a number of ways. Like, you've caught me in a number of my biases. That's probably not the way you say that word, but that's fine. One of them is the Strat sound.
Cool.
The Strat indie, sound. I mean, that's
Sweet.
that's a young person guitar tattoo. If you can't, if you don't know what it is, you can go to our live stream and check it out. Live Music Showcase on Facebook. I was very committed to that guitar at a very young age. Had one of them stolen, had another one stolen. It's a whole thing. But less about that. And first of all, you're playing a show tonight at Shuffle.
Yes.
You're on tour. Where's the next tour date taking you?
This is actually the last stop.
This is the last one
on a week-long run that we've been on. Yeah.
Big finale.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Taking Natalie home.
There it is. Perfect. Yeah. So when it comes to your influences, right? So first of all, I'm having a hard time, honestly. Usually I can kind of see and can kind of hear a little bit, but between like your vocal style and the way that you play, I see a trained hand, first of all. Have you taken any lessons?
A few, but before playing guitar, I was playing cello, which I think kind of helped me with like, extending and kind of placement and everything, even though it is pretty different. I think it just allowed me to build some strength in my hand before playing. I don't know about Grant. Grant's an accomplished,
Oh, come on.
multifaceted guitar player.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so influences, let's see. Not a lot of training on guitar, but you've got cello background, which means you have Suzuki classical style background, maybe?
Sure.
A little bit of that?
Shoot your shot, man. What you thinking?
I think that you probably listened to some Incubus,
Whoa.
Mike Eisinger.
I'm not familiar with Mike Eisinger.
He's their guitarist.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, we
Yeah.
we actually talked about Incubus on this run, interestingly enough.
Yeah?
I wouldn't say that that's a strong influence on this band, but I think it all comes out in the end.
All right. Older or newer in terms of influences?
I
than
would say
Incubus?
both
Both older and
both
newer.
ends. Yeah, totally.
Okay. In the guitarist world, how long have you been playing guitar?
I've been playing guitar. I guess it's been about 16 years now.
16 years?
Yeah.
Okay. And can I ask how old you are now?
I'm 31.
You're 31.
Yeah.
Okay, 31.
I didn't know that.
So you probably
True. It's
you-
all true.
You probably went through an Yngwie Malmsteen phase. No?
Absolutely not.
No, that's
We
true.
can keep playing this game, though. I love it.
You don't have any rings
No
or
rings.
bling or giant curly head of hair and classical in the guitar. No, that's cool. Clapton, maybe
Sure. Yeah,
Little
I
Clapton.
think every guitar player goes through a little bit of a Clapton phase.
a little bit of a
sure.
Clapton phase, and then David Bowie. I would bet
Yes.
a little
Absolutely.
bit of David Bowie.
Absolutely.
How
David
how
Bowie.
much of an influence is David Bowie for you?
Golden Years is huge influence because he has psych rock, he has soul, he has like proto like pop rock and
Yeah.
like huge anthems. He's like done everything, so I feel like that's a huge like kind of nail on the head, huge influence.
Yes, I got one. Okay, good. So how
Although
old-
I feel like we don't quite emulate that.
No,
very
no.
much, but we try to hit as many ranges of those genres as we can. So.
The only thing that made me think Bowie is the diversity of style in your writing.
Sweet.
Really, truly. And
That's
then
what we're
also
going
like
for.
the ambitious style of writing. Because I don't hear cookie cutter formulaic writing
Cool.
in your writing. And if you guys want to at home, you can hear them wherever you get your streaming services. Fast Preacher, just look it up on any of those streaming services. You can find them there. And take a look for yourselves, listen for yourselves, and let us know on our Facebook or our Instagram what you think of Fast Preacher and what kind of influences you think they have.
If you're just tuning in and you wanted a recap on this,
Oh, I love it.
One
Yes.
one thing that's been coming to us from people is saying that there's definitely a clash of Steely Dan and Thin Lizzy.
It was literally going to be
So.
my next one. Steely Dan was going to be my next one. Yeah.
That's sometimes how we like to introduce ourselves to people who are trying to get a quick understanding.
Steely
ask.
Dan and Thin Lizzy had a illegitimate child, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, because there's no way it would be legitimate, those two bands on stage at the same time. No way. Yeah, all right. So how old were you when you first at least had an inkling that, I want to do that? You heard something, you went, oh man, I want to be a musician. Were
I
you
think-
little or were you?
I mean, I guess. Well, so I grew up with musician parents, so it was like always around me, even though they didn't have like a direct influence, like, hey, you should try this or you should try that. It was like musical instruments were just around. So I was just a kind of a byproduct of my environment.
Osmosis almost.
Yeah. What about y'all? I'm curious about everyone else in the group.
The other band members.
Yeah, my dad is also a musician,
Okay.
but bluegrass music.
Okay. Yep. What do you think?
Can you repeat the question?
Where were you on the night of the 3rd? No. How old were you? And like, what was like the first moment when you were a kid, or however old you were when you first were like, yeah, I want to play that. I want to be a musician.
Music is not something that's really in my family. I'm the only one of 4 total children that plays music. But from an early age, they put me through like piano lessons, and I think I maintained the language throughout the rest of my life without really knowing that that's what I was going to do until it's what I wanted to do.
Cool. Yeah, I love that.
Natalie.
Yeah, Natalie's got an interesting. I know a little bit about Blackwell and.
Sure. Yeah. My uncle originally played when I was growing up, and he had a red pearl kit in the garage, and I just fell in love the first time I saw it. Was lucky enough to be able to play around from an early age, around 6.
Yeah.
Nice.
Playing
Love
ever
that.
since.
See, there you go. That's what I love hearing about just the different ways that musicians find music. You hear about religious people, Christians, or whatever, finding God and I feel like there's a lot of parallels there for us musicians. Like we pray to the gods of rock and whatnot. Yeah. So I think we're past the halfway point. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear, how many songs do you have left?
We got 2 left.
We got 2 left. Okay, good. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and hear one of those.
Sweet.
And then we'll get into some other stuff.
Sounds good. This one's called Figure It Out. Julian walks home from work, faced with not knowing their worth. Shawnee stares into the sky, wondering if she'll live or die. Takes the bus to school, asking himself if he's cool. Another day for them will end, answers only time will lend. Yeah. Let us get this funkin' bread, stuff our faces till we're red, forget the past and what was said, share our love in this old bed. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Life of sin, accept yourself to live again, to be renewed, where to begin, start from your heart to truly win. Yeah. Natalie DiPergola on drums.
And the rest of the band on percussion, obviously. You're listening to Live Music Showcase. I'm your host, Ken Apperson. We're live in studio here with Fast Preacher, and they have a show tonight at Shuffle in Tampa.
Indeed.
I can't think of, no, I was trying to think of, I've had a number of really good experiences there at that particular location, both in terms of shuffleboard and in terms of live music. They have a great open mic on Tuesday nights there as well. It's a lot of fun. So as far as, here's the thing. Okay, so when I first heard about you guys, friend of the show, friend of the station, Phil Benito with Broken Mold Entertainment reached out and he was like, hey, we have this band coming in, what do you think? And I listen to music. I mean, first thing I always do anytime I get a band submission for any musicians out there is go and listen to the music. And I don't like, if they send me a file or whatever, that's great. But I want to see that it's already out there somewhere. At least they already have something out there. Immediately I was like, yep, that's good. Sounds good. Watched a couple live videos. And it was awesome.
Sweet.
One thing I've noticed about your marketing strategy is I love the outfits and the 70s kind of thing. What inspired you to actually go that route? Because it seems, especially talking to you now, it's almost kind of juxtaposed with this, that whole, Iggy Stardust or Ziggy Stardust, sorry.
Totally, yeah.
Is that kind of the influence of that?
I would say it's a little bit there. I really like dressing up and just looking pretty for the camera and toying around with different looks and styles and iterations of my personality. And I feel like just over the past few years, I've just become friends with a lot of talented photographers that are always trying to find someone to shoot. And I'm like, let's go. And every time I wind up with one of those photos, I'm like, I'm just going to use this as a way to promote my music.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it.
It's good. And it's funny. And it's kind of it doesn't say that you take yourself too seriously, but you do take yourself seriously,
sure,
which you should. So when you started implementing that strategy, did that help you? Did it change anything for you when you started using that? Did people gravitate to you because of that imagery, or
I think,
did you notice a change?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think it's something fresh and it's something to look at, and I don't know, it just draws attention to what you're doing at the time, even if you're not really doing that much. It someone shares it or it comes on someone's feed or whatever, it's kind of this is interesting. What is this person doing? Because they're not saying a lot, and it kind of leads them in that direction. And I don't know.
It's a clever strategy is what I'm getting at. And I say this on this show all the time, but frankly, I think you have to hit people with a sledgehammer sometimes to get through to them. Musicians, marketing strategies, whatever they are, whatever you use, any strategy is better than no strategy, first off. Second off, I've had too much coffee today. Second off, trying a strategy and failing doesn't mean marketing doesn't work. Just like trying to write a song and it's not the song you wanted it to be doesn't mean you're a bad writer.
It's a game that's always evolving. And if anything, I think it's probably a way for me of compensating that I'm not doing much to begin with. So it's I need to put some kind of content out there.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that you're not doing much, because first of all, if I Google Fast Preacher, you're the first thing that comes up, which is a lot more than you can say about most bands.
That's great.
That's one. Two, you have plenty of press. Plenty of people have featured you in various magazines and newspapers. Yeah. You're not in Time magazine, but why would you be? That's okay.
One day,
right. And I mean, the thing about those little news articles, those little, you guys clearly have figured out how to send a press release, first of all, or some kind of communication. How do you get in touch with those newspapers?
Honestly, I have not done that.
No, they find you?
I think it's just been helpful hands along the way that have invested in me a little bit. So that's been really, really nice to have. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing then is that you have a team, or you have maybe an unofficial team, group of people that are kind of on their game with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I work in the music industry, as some of us also do, and I think you just meet a lot of people that do a lot of different things, and once you get those connections and resources, you kind of just play the cards.
You do what you can with what you have where you are.
Yeah.
So as far as like using that going forward? What's next for Fast Preacher?
Well, so we just did this run, which was really nice. I would love to play the West Coast as soon as possible, but I'm not going to rush to do that. I think the first thing in order is to try and work on some new material and hopefully have this bunch involved with the making of that as well. So
Nodding to Natalie there in the drum booth.
Everybody.
For sure.
Everybody.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I love you guys as a group, as a band, because like that cohesiveness we talked about at the beginning of the show. It's there. It's there in every song. It's there in every note. It's cool.
Thanks.
It's a good thing to see. And frankly, when you go out to a show, especially a local show, and here in the Tampa Bay area, you see it more and more. But that cohesiveness, that you guys are like one. You're a single entity when you're on stage. And that's a really cool sight to see. It's one of the best things about going to see a live band. So Fast Preacher live tonight at Shuffle in Tampa. I can't wait to hear how the show goes. I've got a couple of friends going for sure.
Sweet.
I know that. I would be there tonight if I could be. I wish I could be, but I can't. But
We'll get some video for you.
if you're listening right now, that's a great show that you can definitely check out tonight. Before we go, because we're almost done, we're just about done. Flies by, as always. I want to read off the credits for the show. This show is very unique. We have a huge crew, a huge team of volunteer individuals, all people that donate their time, who are kind enough to come in studio and help us out with the video, with the audio, and it's such a joy and such a pleasure to work with you guys, just in general. I really appreciate it. Mark Perfetti is our audio engineer. Mr. Mark, making sure everything sounds beautiful and perfect, as he always does. Our video director today, Bob Hoke, is out. Richard Stone filling in for him as video director. He's also our post-video production person. Let's see. Oh, today we actually have the treat of having our general manager operating a camera for us today. Randy, thank you so much for being here. Oh. And Bree Shoemaker as well, managing one of the other cameras, who is also our social media. We have a bunch of people doing like multiple things today. It's pretty cool. Pamela Robinson is our audio assistant, and she's our board op today. So thank you, Pam. Really appreciate that. And of course, we're so happy to have Mr. Chandler Collada back in studio on the photography and making sure all the photos look real good. So thank you so much. I appreciate every one of you. I'm your host, Ken Apperson. We have Fast Preacher in studio today. We're going to let them take us out with a song, if that's okay with you guys.
Cool. Is this going to be the last one that we were talking about?
This is the very last one. Yep.
Okay. I still think it should be Stick Together, if that's okay with y'all.
Yeah,
Sure.
Cool. This one's called Stick Together. Thanks for having us. See you at Shuffle tonight, Tampa, 8 o'clock. All right.
Stick together more than ever. Heart of treasure, bold endeavor. Stormy weather, pluck your feathers. Now or never, flock together. Yeah. When others look to you do? What are you gonna do? What am I supposed to do? What are you gonna do?
Thanks again for having us. We're Fast Preacher. Moving down the line, we got Grant Payton on guitar. We got Jordan Rappaport on the bass. We got the one and only Natalie DiPergola on the drums. My name is Dan Hansen. Once again, we're Fast Preacher. We'll see you at Shuffle in Tampa at 7 tonight. Doors at 7. Show starts at 8. Let's go. Thank you.